Hey, so this is part one of the Mandys. Basically, my best of for 2025 in the world of comics. So, this section, I'll be giving you my top 20 comics from this period, from 2025. Um, so, I'll give you the top 19 and in no particular order, and then I'll give you my outstanding one at the very end. So, um, first one is Mortal 4 by Al Ewing and Pascal Ferry. I was not the biggest Al Ewing fan, I've got to admit, but he's changed my opinion more so with this comic than with Absolute Green Lantern, which I've got a very much of a love-hate relationship with that. Some months I absolutely adore it. Other months I'm just thinking, oh come on, it's dragging on. Whereas Mortal 4, it's just I've enjoyed it from the ground running where it's got very much shades of Mage, the Matt Wagner comic from back in the day, where it's brought the gods onto the earth. So Thor now is just this normal guy going about doing construction, and his hammer's just a hammer. But I love how it's leaning heavily into magic realism. Yeah, and it's just really resonating with me. Oh, sorry. I always start with a cold when I start recording. Next up, we've got JSA, um, and this is by Jeff Lemire doing the writing. And at the moment, it's Gavin Goodry doing the artwork, and he's doing a phenomenal job at the moment with it. So they've come off a big 12-issue arc, which was fantastic. I loved it. It was everything I want in a good superhero book, where you've got heavy soap opera elements, you've got relationships going on, and you've got this big overarching plot as well, what develops from month to month. And it was a very satisfactory conclusion to that. And now I like how the next story arc, which is 6 issues with Gavin Goodry in the artwork, it's now going into the history of GSA, how they all met up and formed the GSA back in the Second World War period. Again, really, really fun. One of my constantly favourite comics. So that's the next one. After that, we've got my favourite magazine, one of my favourite magazine format comics, which is Savage Sword of Conan from Titan. This is a wonderful modern reinvention of a classic format from the 70s of the old black and white newsprint magazines that Marvel and Warren, etc., used to do back in the 70s. It's the best value for money. It's $6.99. You get 64 pages, got that wonderful newsprint smell, and the stories are really, really good. They've got the cream of the crop on the writing and on the artwork, and it's just one of the most enjoyable books you can get every 2 months. So that's the next on the list. And keeping with the magazine format, we've got my favourite book to come back after a period of a long, long time, and that's Heavy Metal Magazine. They've improved on the original format. It's expensive, it's $14.99, but for that price, you get 220 pages. So is it expensive? Not really, because that's a lot of book for that price. And I've not found a strip that I don't enjoy in it. It's a comic for adults, for grown-ups, and it's really clutched to the heart of the original format of heavy metal from the 70s. It's like they've ignored the missteps from the later years. So it's got that really fun mix of classic European artists like Bilal, etc., and then they brought in a whole raft of new European and American artists, and it's a really fun thing to dip into. It's a great one where you can just read a story at a time, put it down, read it again, and yeah, wonderful. So moving on from that, I'm going to move on to a Image comic, and that's Battle Beast from Rob Kirkman and is it Ryan Otley? I could be wrong. Don't quote me on that. But yes, at the moment they've taken a little bit of a sabbatical, and they're going to come back in March. So this is a character stemming from the universe of Invincible, who wasn't really heavily involved in Invincible, but they've really fleshed him out in this. It's basically Images. It's the closest we've got at the moment to a Lobo character. The artwork is gorgeous. The story is hilarious. Its violence is visceral. It's crude, and it's funny. And I think it's the best thing I've read from Robert Kirkman, to be honest. And yeah, so Battle Beast is in there as well. And keeping with the image titles, we have Skinbreaker. Again, Robert Kirkman doing the writing and David Finch on the art. This book very much is arts first, story after. The story's good, but if it didn't have David Finch doing the artwork, it would just be a very average comic. But it's David Finch working at the best of his ability. I'm not the biggest David Finch fan. I didn't like any of his superhero stuff, but seeing him ink his own stuff, I think Robert Kirkman said he spent about 8 years doing this comic, and you can tell each page is just full of the love of the craft. It's one of the most exciting releases from this year visually, and it's a very, very satisfying read. So yeah, that's my next one. And after that, we have a book that's come back after a long, long, long period away, and that's Powers, with Powers 25. So it's celebrating the 25th anniversary of Powers, and it's got the original team of Brian Michael Bendis and Michael Avon Oeming. And Michael Avon Oeming's in the book is what sold it to me, because I've always liked his work, but now he's become such a master craftsman in use of light and shade and simple brush strokes to make a figure. And it's just a delight to read his characters. It's the perfect blend of noirish detective story spliced with superheroes. And yeah, it's like they've never been away. It's a really fun comic, and it's the best revival of a comic series I've read in a very long time. So that makes the charts as well. And after that, we have Exquisite Corpses. This is the brainchild of James Tynion and Michael Walsh. It's basically, the closest I could give it, it feels very much like The Purge in flavour. Um, at the moment, it's not run out of appeal. That's why it's in the charts. And what I like is how it's like a series what Comico did a few years back called Feed's World, where they created this universe where over all different artists and writers could dive in and carry on with the story. And that's what they've done with this. So Michael Walsh and James Tynion IV are like the architects of it. They steer the issue from they steer the story from issue to issue, but they have different guest writers, different guest artists, with them putting like the final stamp on it. And it works. It's very brutal, but very funny at the same time. But it's by James Tynion. It's brainchild of James Tynion. He's got a bit of best horror writer out that month. So that's his Exquisite Corpses. And keeping on with the James Tynion connection, we have the latest from the Universal Monsters stable, and that's Invisible Man by Danny doing the artwork, who's a wonderful artist. And again, she's joined by James Tynion on the writing. This, for me, has been the most enjoyable Universal Monsters book. It could be because Invisible Man is my favourite Universal Monsters film anyway, so it resonated with me a lot because I've seen the film numerous times, so it holds a dear place in my heart. But this one just was different because the character of the Invisible Man, he was a psychopath before he became invisible. So there's nothing scarier than a human monster is much more scary than a man-made fabricated monster. And so yeah, it's a wonderful, wonderful comic. It will look so handsome when it's collected in hardback. So that's the Invisible Man. And after that one, we have Red Coat. So I could have picked quite a few from Ghost Machine, but I thought I'll pick the one that I think has moved on the most, which has had the biggest growth in story and character, and that's Red Coat. I don't think there's been an issue when Brian Hitch hasn't done the artwork, or if he hasn't done the artwork, I've not noticed it. But Brian Hitch is doing the art of his career on this series, and I think this is the one where Jeff Johns just appears to be having the most fun on the character. There's a very good, strong strain of humour running through it, and is such a likable character because he's such a jerk, Simon Pure, and I'm all for it. It starts off as the weakest Ghost Machine comic, now to be, for me, plot wise and story wise, to being the strongest one. And I highly recommend it. If you've been sitting on the fence about it, do get the collected editions because you really will enjoy it. It's a really fun study of a man who can't die, and it's just seen. I like how it interweaves with American history as well. So you've got Einstein coming through as a young boy, and then later on as a young man, and of course Simon Pure hasn't aged, and it's just pure escapist, alternate history fantasy, wonderful stuff. And after that we have Die Loaded. by Kieran Gillen. The artist's name has slipped my memory. Um, I got this on a whim. It intrigued me, but I never got the original series when it first came out. But I'll try it. I might not understand it. Read the first issue. There's only been one issue downloaded so far, and I fell in love with it. Fell in love with the premise of these people being thrown into a role-playing world where the role-playing game, what they were playing, becomes real. The artwork's great. It's very, very dark, but it's very real, very human. I love Kieran Gillen when he's not doing licensed properties. I love it when he's doing his own creations because I feel he gets restricted too much on other companies' stuff. On the strength of the book, it impacted me so much that very same week when I read it, I had to start ordering the previous series in trade paperbacks. So I've read the first 2 volumes, and again, just wonderful. So yeah, it's done the job. It's got me hooked on the series, and it's got me wants to buy more. So wonderful series. And after that, we have um, Death Planet from Bad Idea. I think that's Robert Venditti doing the artwork, the writing. Can't remember who the artist is, but again, Bad Idea are a really good idea now. $5.99 an issue, but they're on a wonderful cardstock cover. Cardstock. The playback format. Some books are on this really high quality paper, like Death Planet, and others are on newsprint, depending on what the artwork's like. And it's it's a really good, hard edged sci-fi war story with beautiful, beautiful artwork. And yeah, it's been one of the most enjoyable series that's come out recently. It's the brainchild. It's Robert Vendetta doing the scripting with I think it's one of the producers of the John Wick films as well. So excellent, really highly recommended. And then we have Cheetah and Cheshire. I think it's Rob the JLA. That's by um, Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott. So much fun. It's one of the most fun comics of recent times. It's got the energy of the old Justice League comics with gorgeous, gorgeous artwork. Some of the nicest artwork I've ever seen. Great dialogue. Greg Rucka and Nicholas Scott just work perfectly in tandem together. And yeah, absolutely recommend it from DC. And then we have from Image again, Everything Dead and Dying by, oh fuck, I've forgotten his name. He's the writer of Batgirl. Tate Brumble, I think it is. And Jacob Phillips on artwork. And it's a really, really moving, which is weird. It's a horror book, but it's a moving zombie love story with a queer slant, and it just hits you right there. You can just feel this man's lost his whole life. He's lost his daughter. He's lost his husband through this zombie apocalypse, but he's clinging on to the past by still caring for the zombies that they've become. And then things happen where his false ideal, what he's created, gets shattered by the invasion of other people. It's very moving, it's very impactful, and it's highly, highly recommended. Talk about moving and impactful, and it's just about cats. Feral. It's 18 issues strong now, and it's by Tony Fleeks, and I've forgotten who the artists are, but they're really good. The ones who did Stray Dogs. And this is, I've said this before, it's like The Walking Dead meets Disney without the cuteness of Disney. So you get invested in this story just about these cats who basically fighting off this um, virus has swept through the whole of the country where all cats and animals are turning rabid. And so it becomes a survival horror book. It's just wonderful. It's This nearly became my book of the year, but I just wanted to give a special shout out to a special comic for me. So that's why it's not. But Feral is absolutely fantastic. Talk about absolutely fantastic. From DC, we have Batman Dark Patterns by Dan Watters and Hayden Sherman. Oh my God. This book, it left me speechless after each issue. It was just that good. My battery's running low, so I better speed up. So there was a series of 12 issues, but done in a series of 3-issue story arcs. And the layouts are mind blowing, mind expanding, and just wonderful, wonderful examples of how far you can stretch the page for a comic. And Dan Watter's artwork, storylines, are pure, pure, pinpointed essence of what the Dark Knight Detective should be. Absolutely great series. Do buy the collector's edition if you've not been buying the series. And then we have the Absolute books, Absolute Batman by Scott Snyder, Nick Dragotta, and Absolute Wonder Woman by Kelly Thompson, and again Hayden Sherman. These two books are the pinnacle of what a superhero book can be when the company allows you to take the brakes off and just go for it, pell mell, down the hill. And that's what they've done. Just pure. There's a reason why they're going back for reprints, why they're constantly at the top of the charts. They are just such an adrenaline rush, and you get such an excitement from reading them. Just brilliant series. And I think, yeah, that is it. So my comic of the year is one that is very dear to me. Like I said, it's one that I've followed for a very long time, and that is 2000 AD. 2000 AD, for the past few years, has been riding a crest of a wave where they've been putting out all the sorts creatively with the art teams, with the writers, with the stories. And this year has been such an outpouring of great talent and great stories. They've brought back Red Dragon from Zenith with wonderful writing by Rob Williams and Steve Yule on art and Patrick Goddard on art as well. And they've brought back Brass Sun, which is genius, which is one of the mind-bending, mind-blowing space operas you can read. And then they've also had one of the best stories I've read this year. We just read a story by Rob Williams again, but with Henry Flint doing the art of his career with a very H.P. Lovecraft flavour on it. So yeah, and there's so many more stories I could pick. What's been in 2000 AD this year, and its sister title, Just Dress. So they deserve to be the comic of the year. So that's my comics of the year. And do let me know which ones you put in your top 20, and I will do another video looking at other things what I've liked this year. Okay, bye.